What's up, everybody? Today I'm joined by Rich. Rich, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure.
I wanted to discuss something a little bit more controversial today, and that is, does brand heritage actually matter anymore? So let's get right into it. So Rich, as I said, the question for the day is, does brand heritage actually matter? And the reason I kind of bring up this discussion is because there's a very important anniversary being celebrated by probably the most important, you can definitely argue it's one of, if not the most important brand of all time in the history of watches, and that is Breguet. 250th anniversary. Obviously, Vacheron Constantin also celebrating a milestone, 270 years. So there's a lot of anniversaries this year. And this is why I kind of wanted to bring up this topic. Does brand heritage in the watch industry still matter in your opinion?
This is a hard question.
It is.
And I think I have a good answer, which might feel like a way out, but this is my answer. I think brand heritage matters when a brand is winning.
Sure.
If a brand's on top, history and heritage is all that matters. Well, it's 200 years old, it's 150 years old. I mean, the sub came out in 1956. Then it matters. Look at Breguet. They have the best history and heritage of any brand in the world.
The most accomplishments.
Without a doubt. When you look at what they've brought into the watch world, the number of patents, Breguet numerals, Breguet hands, the tourbillon, they revolutionized our industry alone, and no one cares. If Breguet becomes the hottest brand in the world within the next few years, all that's going to matter is their history and heritage. They're not selling right now. No one cares about it. Yeah. Rolex sells, AP sells, Patek sells. History, heritage, history, heritage. There are brands that have unbelievable histories and heritage that no one cares about because they're not selling. I don't think it is just a black and white answer. I think it really is dictated on the market share that the brand has at the moment. And then it's important or it's not important.
I couldn't agree more, because you actually look at the watch industry, right? The most innovative watch brands today, or the ones that are looked at in the highest esteem, I would consider to be the youngest. I mean, you think about F.P. Journe, what he's done in the last 25-ish years.
Right.
A. Lange & Söhne, what they've accomplished in the last 25-ish years. Even Patek Philippe, in the context of the entire watch landscape, right? They were not necessarily known as a pocket watch company. They created some of the most complicated and important pocket watches out there, but they only gained notoriety later on. Patek Philippe was never like what we think of it as it is today, right? Like kind of one of, if not the most prestigious watch brand in the industry. It's really what they accomplished in wristwatch form over the last, I would say, 100 years that kind of brought them to notoriety, right? The fact that they kind of started serially producing perpetual calendars and chronographs, perpetual calendar chronographs, and so on. And really, I would say, were, without a question, I would say in the 20th century, the most innovative brand by far and away. But you look at other historic brands, like legacy brands like AP, for example. What have they really done in the last 25 years to push the boundaries of watchmaking? I mean, heck, you can even make an argument. Richard Mille has been one of the most innovative brands, like it or not, right? Their material innovation, a lot of their early movements in the first kind of 10 years of the brand were some of the most groundbreaking. I mean, think about it, the G-Sensor, G-Shock kind of innovations that they brought with the Bubba Watson, the Nadals, all that kind of stuff. That only came about, from other brands like IWC, for example. I'm thinking of the shock absorber. That only comes about, really, I think, because of the original vision of Richard Mille. So I look at the watch landscape today, right? And I mean, you think about brands like, I'm wearing a Patek Philippe, you're wearing a Lange today, right? Both of these brands are in the kind of overall landscape, pretty young brands, all things considered, right? And yet they are some of the most respected for their heritage, and it's only then when it's brought up, right? Because you think about even other Swatch Group brands, and I think they're the biggest culprits of it. Blancpain, right? First of all, we won't get into the whole 1735. Are they the oldest watch brand? I don't believe it. There's nothing that shows that their heritage goes to 1735. The oldest watch brand for a long time was Breguet, or at least oldest continuous, but then they found the whole Jean-Marc Vacheron contract that dates all the way back to 1735.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then ultimately that was 1755. It was a start, and that's when it kind of started the brand officially, right? For those brands, Vacheron I think is a very important one, and it's held in high esteem because it's very much a collector's and connoisseur's brand. But Breguet, you look at their watches today, they're inferior to what they used to make even 40 years ago, right? You look at the Roth era Breguets, those are kind of the most collectible. You can go, like, we became an authorized retailer for Longines. In the 1900s, like even 1910s, 1920s, 1930s, they were probably one of the most esteemed chronograph makers. And nowadays,
Longines was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, when you look at patents,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, everyone wants to argue who did what first. Every
100%.
brand claims that they invented the chronograph, they invented this.
Automatic
When you look
movements or
at
whatever.
patents, Longines is the first on pretty much everything. They were unbelievable. I mean, my kind of theory with Longines is that when they were acquired by Swatch Group had to decide who's our star pupil.
Yeah.
And they had Omega. I think that they took the Moonwatch and said, this is a concept we can sell, we can run with it, it makes sense, and that became their baby.
Yeah.
Because I do think that Longines is an incredible brand.
Oh,
history and heritage is insane, but they do unbelievably well.
They do. Yeah,
Truly.
they're extremely popular all over the world, right? They've become a global brand, but that's only really, again, an advent of the last 10 years because Longines was a dead brand. I mean, the Swatch Group brand, I think, that was most popular that helped revive them was Tissot and Hamilton, right? They allowed them to really kind of elevate their status within the overall Swatch Group portfolio. But again, you go back and look at the history of Swatch Group brands, they have probably some of the most important historically. We haven't even mentioned Jacques Drouot too, which is also a very
Those
important.
automatons.
But nobody cares anymore.
I know. Well, that's what's sad. It's all hype. It's what's cool.
Right.
It's what everybody has and what everyone wants. Everyone's chasing the same watch from the same houses. So that's my point. It's a yes and a no question.
100%.
If the brand is winning, it matters. If they're not, it doesn't. Because to your point, a lot of the brands that we mentioned that have the absolute best history, the most innovations and really propelled watchmaking to what it is, are not winning, and no one cares about that. Right. And there are guys who do. There's always going to be purists. But when you talk about, does that relate to sales? And sales ultimately is what's going to say if a brand's successful or not, right?
Yeah, totally.
Whether we agree or not. I mean, some of my favorite brands are not Patek and Rolex. But my point is like when people look at what's a successful watch or what's a status symbol,
right,
they're all chasing those same things.
100%. How resellable is it, and how much over retail or under retail does it sell?
And to your point, how long can you just bank a business on the past? When you look at, all right, Journe comes out in 1999. Lange comes out in 1994. No one is coming close. Put it this way. Lange released the Datograph in 1999, the year that Journe comes out. Journe comes out the gate all in-house. It took Patek 170 years to get an in-house chronograph. Lange did it, I mean, I'm sure that they started research and development in 94.
Yep.
I mean, in 99, the Datagraph's released.
And even today, a lot of houses, right? Like, for example, again, I'm going to pick on Swatch today because apparently I have like an affinity for them right now. But like, they'll buy movement companies, right? So like Breguet will use Frederic Piguet movements as well, Blancpain as well. Tissot and Longines will use ETA a lot of the time, or modified ETA.
I mean, because they own
that's
ETA,
the standard,
right? I mean,
right,
they
that's
have
the standard
those.
of now in-house movements. So a lot of brands are still not using in-house movements. They're just kind of muddled the waters of it, like change it a little bit to fit within the criteria. But I think brand history is important only to a certain extent. If a brand uses it to rest on its laurels, again, I'm going to compare, let's say, Breguet versus Vacheron. I think Vacheron pays tribute to their history in a very tasteful manner, right? The Histories collection, I think, is really nice. But you look at everything else, it's kind of in its own lane, right? Nothing really cannibalizes each other, and it all has kind of sense and nuance within the actual line. With Breguet, you see 15 different versions of the same watch.
True.
And the thing is the evolution has never happened, right? You look at a Vacheron from the 1980s versus today, they're radically different. You look at a Breguet from the 1980s versus today, they're pretty much the same watch, just blown up in size, and I think done in a less, I would say, hand done manner, right? The finishing is just less good than it used to be, just because of computers and CNC machines.
I'll tell you who does history and heritage well, though, is Longines. They truly go into their archives, reproduce with updated, movements and parts and all that.
Sure.
Old watches, and they do it well.
Yeah.
And it resonates with their audience, and I think with a mass appeal.
I think that they've been one of the most successful companies, and Vacheron is probably the only other one that comes to mind when it comes to like reshaping, like in the minds of collectors, or reinvigorating old lines and bringing them to the present. Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this all the time. The Breguet Classique is one of my favorite watches.
Right.
I think that watch is everything.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
I want to say retail's $27,000. You could buy a pre-owned for 10.
Yeah, probably 10, 15,000.
It hurts my heart.
Yeah.
Like truly, people don't even understand. And that kills me. I mean, listen, there's tons of people that get it, but like, you can't compare Rolex's history to Breguet's.
No, not even close. I mean, it's really not close.
No, it's not even the same. And listen, Rolex has a great history. What they were able to achieve, and then opening Tudor and, making an unbelievable watch at a lower price point for the masses. Like, and a not-for-profit. I mean, he was an orphan, and
Yeah.
the story is awesome.
It's awesome.
But what we're talking about is different.
I think we idolize Rolex from a different standpoint, right? Like Breguet, we can idolize them and ogle about them from a watchmaking standpoint. I think we appreciate and ogle at Rolex from a business standpoint. Like,
That's right.
look
what they achieved.
Right.
And it's unbelievable.
And to be fair, you do that with a lot of, even the Patek Philippe, for example, right?
Yeah.
Because you think of Patek's success, making 60-odd thousand watches a year now, creating, I mean, some of the most expensive timepieces on earth, right? Lange's only making maybe 4,000 or 5,000. I think that also plays into the equation, is how much success people have and the history that plays into. We don't necessarily appreciate the history. We appreciate more so the business history and the success from an entrepreneurial level.
But look at the last 25 years there. What are we talking about? The Cubitus?
I mean, they came out with the Grandmaster.
I know that's your
Charm.
brand. I know that's your brand.
I've had a love affair with Patek Philippe. I got to defend them. They've come out with a lot of new.
But the landscape's changed.
Yeah.
No one wants annual calendars.
Yeah, they've come out with
Calatravas.
Yeah, it's just I still think when it comes to Patek Philippe, where they separate themselves is the grand comps, right?
Sure.
Minute repeaters, minute repeater perpetual calendars, minute repeater tourbillons, and you go down the list. You know, in 2016, 15ish, they released the Grandmaster Chime, which I think is certainly very, very impressive. So I think they've done enough to stay in the conversation. But I mean, I made a video talking about, is Patek Philippe still the best brand in the industry? Because there's guys like Lange and FP Journe who are right there and have the merits of being right there in the conversation. The only thing missing from Lange is a grand comp, because they don't have that like Sky Moon tourbillon. Like FP Journe released the Astronomique, which kind of competes with the Grandmaster Chime. Lange doesn't really have like a Sky Moon tourbillon, or like, that kind of groundbreaking.
But I will tell you this, whether you want to call it history or heritage, because we're talking about baby brands now.
Sure.
I do think it is important to not cause too many waves. I mean, look at Journe and the reputation that he has and how that's affected the brand.
The good or the bad side?
The bad side. I mean, to me, the watches that they're making, I don't think you can compare any other brand to.
There's
truly.
nothing else like
Maybe Lange. But I don't even think you can, to me, they're way over, what Patek is doing.
Sure.
But I mean, he has a reputation and rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And you see, people don't talk about Journe in the same regard that they did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You feel that.
100%. There's definitely been a ripple effect. At the same time, Journe is the only watch brand right now that is like exploding in value on the secondary market. Maybe it's due to the limited supply. I mean, he's only making 800 to 1,000 watches.
But that's smart on his end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
He could control those parameters.
100%. So I guess just to give an overarching view, right? Does brand history matter? I think I agree with you. It's not so black and white. If a brand is winning, it's everything.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then it's
no one cares.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the best history in the world, but it's not enough to make me buy your watch.
Absolutely.
But as soon as you're trending, your history, oh my God, do you know about Breguet? They invented the tourbillon.
Is it just a marketing ploy?
I'm a nerd, so I love history.
I agree.
I mean, that's...
You have to, it's part of the story.
The story is
the romance of owning a watch is the story behind it.
Because at the end of the day, you could buy a quartz watch for $100. It's going to tell better time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you need that history to make you feel good about
100%.
spending what, these watches command, So I do think, and it is nice when you're with a brand that kind of represents you.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do think that as a guy, we are attracted to watches that we want to... We think that, you're a Patek guy.
Yeah.
I'm a Lange guy. You want someone to look at your watch and have certain ideas about you, right?
Sure.
Your values and what you.
Yeah.
Their whole marketing ploy is the best.
I agree, right? You never own a Patek Philippe, it's for the next generation. I mean, it's hard to beat that kind of romance.
Yeah.
100%. I guess let us know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think that this whole kind of conversation is overblown, out of proportion? Does brand history really even matter anymore? Or do you think it's actually really, really important? I'd love to get your feedback down in the comments. Rich, thank you so much for joining me.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. It's always fun. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to like the video, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Let me know down in the comments below, of course, what videos you'd like to see from the both of us on the British Jewelry YouTube channel. It's always a pleasure doing these, so thank you so much for watching.